Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis call, and this is in preparation for trading on February 21st, 2018. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. So to start off with, we'll take a look at our calendar here. So we had Aussie negative data come out. Previously it was positive, now we have negative data come out. So I'm looking for Aussie, or I was looking for Aussie dollar to drop as a result. And it is just moving a little bit fast. So we cannot get into that trade just yet. We'll have to just wait for a pullback. So coming up on Wednesday, we do have some important data. Euro session here, the London session, there's a lot of data coming out. So all the way from the beginning of the session to about 4:30, we have PMI numbers coming out and then British pound average earnings index. So trading euro or pound tomorrow morning will be a little challenging because we have all this data. PMIs are leading indicator for retail sales, so these numbers are very important, so which can move the market. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then we have inflation report hearings. This is important as well because inflation has been very strong for British pound, and that's one of the reasons the Bank of England has that pressure to start looking at raising interest rates. So this will be important for the British pound, but it is in the New York session. And then we have PMI numbers for the US here as well. Existing home sales, that will be important. The biggest thing though will be FOMC meeting minutes. So last time, I think Fed had indicated that they are looking to do 3 interest rate hikes this year. So with the FOMC meeting minutes, market will be looking to see when those potential interest rate hikes will come because the Fed hasn't really given an indication as to when they will come. They've just said that they will come. So this is what the market will be focusing on. So tomorrow here, we have a ton of data, but FOMC being the most important of them. So we'll have to just sort of be careful with our trading, especially going into all of this, because we can see a lot of market volatility. And that's why I was actually hoping to catch a trade tonight, so we wouldn't have to focus on the tomorrow morning so much. So we'll see if we get a pullback, but that's for tomorrow. So important day in terms of data. So let's go take a look at our charts here. So it looks like we are getting pullback. So let's start with euro dollar. So we have had a very solid close in euro dollar here. The bias for the daily is to the downside. So I'm looking for a further drop in euro. What would be nice would be this here. So price goes and tests this 123.67 to 70 level once again, right? The pin right over here, and then do a drop. So that would be 123. About 67 to 70 level would be a good level for a potential short, and the target is 122.80, which is the bottom of this pin here. So the bias in this one is to the downside. So this is short for euro dollars, and in terms of our pullback here, it's into the bottom of this pin here, so just above the pivot point. So it would be good to get, if you can get a pullback there, it would be nice to get this type of a pullback, and then we're looking for price to drop into this 22.80 level right over here. So that's what I would like to see if you can get a bit of a pullback here. The bias, the daily bias, is definitely to the downside here. Pound dollar is a little, so the bias is neutral, bearish to neutral here, and the reason it is still a little bearish is because we have this this level here that price is holding below, which is 140.20. We have seen lower highs, but right now that's a doji, so that's an indecision candle, and hence, because our daily closed in a very neutral way, but overall bias is to the downside. So this will be biased as neutral to downside. So I'm looking for basically price to come back and test the low here, 1.3920 or 1.3930, sorry, will be the level to watch to the downside here. So this is our 140.20 will be our pullback level. So we get a pullback into that and then a drop. So that's sort of what I'm looking for back into S1. It could go a little higher into this either 4034 or even into 4050 level. So we'll have to watch out for that. But overall, the daily bias is neutral to bearish for this one. Aussie dollar here. Aussie dollar had a really nice bearish candle close, and that's why I was keeping an eye on this, but I just missed the opportunity there. So with this one, bias is to the downside, looking for this to drop. So overall, I'm looking for 77.80, this level here, bottom of this pin here. So I am biased to the downside for daily here. This is where we are currently sitting. I would like to see a bit of a pullback into 77.80-ish level here. And then see if we can see a drop, or if price comes and test the pivot point once again, that would be nice as well. For now, though, it's sort of moved quite a bit, so it would be nice to get a pullback before we enter a trade short, because otherwise it's about 33 pips. About 40 pips in terms of our stop. So I'm going to look for a bit of a pullback here, see if you can get a pullback for an entry short, but the bias is to the downside. I do like this. We have lower highs, lower high, lower high, and looking for price to drop. So the Aussie dollar is biased to the downside. New Zealand dollar as well is biased to the downside. We saw a double top here. Now price is moving lower. So in this case, my target will be, the first target would be 73.12 level right into here, and then 72.80 level, which is our next level of support and resistance level here. So my bias is to the downside for New Zealand dollar here as well. So between Aussie and New Zealand, Aussie seems to be more bearish than New Zealand, but as we can see, it is still a nice kind of trend line to the downside. We got pulled back right into the pivot point, bounced off of the trend line and the pivot point, and now I'm looking for a drop. So into this 72.80 level, which is also our S3 level. So I'm looking for a drop in New Zealand dollar here as well. And also the commodities have been weak as well. Oil has pulled back, and we have seen gold pull back as well. So as a result of that, we have the commodities dropping with that. Dollar CAD here, also a commodity currency. So now we are seeing a move to the upside. We are into this resistance area, bullish candle close here. So I'm looking for price to move up higher. And in this case, the target will be 1.2740 level. So looking for price to go higher. First will be a retest of this level, 1.2700, and then 1.2740 to the downside. But the candle close here, it looks quite solid. That's a strong bullish candle close. I'm looking for price to move up higher. So in this case, this inefficient move here has been filled. And now this is where we are. So we could get price. So it may pull back into this pivot point and then move up higher. But overall, the bias is to the downside. So it looks like it's already pulled into that. So looking for a further move to the upside for dollar CAD. Euro Swiss franc here, this is bullish. So we have two bullish candle closes. So, but overall, we are biased to the downside. So for this one, I'm looking for price to move higher like this, 1.1580 level. So come and test this level again. So basically test this 1.1580 level, and then we may see price bounce back to the downside, because right now we are range bound in this. It's just sort of kind of going sideways, but we do have a bullish candle close or two bullish candle closes in a row. So I'm looking for a bit more of a pullback into 1.1580 level. So the bias will be to the upside towards the top of this range at 1.1580. Pound Swiss franc as well. We have a good solid candle close. We are into resistance though, so we'll have to be mindful of that. But the bias is to the upside because we have a good solid candle close. So if the price breaks above this 1.3120 level, then we're looking for next move into 1.3240, right into the top here. But it will be important to watch this 1.3120 level, because if the price stays below this level, then we could just come back into the range here. So that will be the criteria to watch out for. If we take a look at the 1 hour, it is pushing upwards right now. So we have a bit of a triangle formation going on here. So price is pushing into the highs. So generally what happens when we see a formation like this is price will break out, pull back, and then do another move to the upside. So definitely the bias is to the upside. The concern would be, though, if it doesn't break above 3120, then it could break to the downside. So in that case, generally what happens is price will coil like this, and then it bounces off of the top and then will break to the downside, something like that. So right now it is pushing higher, but we have to be mindful of that 1.3120 level, because if it does not break above that, then we could see a drop there. And then dollar Swiss franc here, this is a bullish candle close here as well. So the bias is to the upside. But again, just like with pound Swiss franc, we are pushing into the resistance here at 73.80 level, which is the top of the pin here. So first thing will be, can the high be broken? Once the high is broken, then looking for price to go into 94.50 level. But just like the pound here, we are pushing into the high, but if the price is not able to break that level, so we have a bit of an ascending triangle going on up into that level here, into our resistance. So price can go do this. So that's my base case scenario, looking for price to move up higher. But if it fails to break the high here, we could get one of these moves. So that's why very important to see if we actually get a high. First, if we can get a break of the high, then and only then on the other side can a long be taken. But for now, the bias is to the upside, and we could see price push up into 94.50 level up top here. Okay, so pound yen. Pound yen, we have a solid bullish candle close here. So with the yen crosses, we've seen moves to the downside. Now, we have seen quite a drop, so it makes sense for price to pull back. And in this case, we could get a pullback all the way into 152.00. So the bias is to the upside here. We do have a bullish engulfing candle close, looking for price to move up higher, especially with Bank of Japan getting quite concerned about the strength of their currency. Central banks and countries don't like their currencies to be high, because that generally means that the exports will be impacted. So that's what we have to keep in mind. So right now, bullish candle close, looking for it to move higher. This is where we are. This looks quite bullish right now. It is making higher lows, and it's breaking the highs as well. So higher highs, higher lows, price is pushing higher. First target would be 150.80. And then once price breaks to the other side of 150.80, then we are looking at 150.200 as the target to the upside. So pound yen looking bullish at the moment. Euro yen looking bullish here as well, just from our 5-minute perspective. As we can see, held the pivot point, and now it's steadily moving higher. So looking at the daily candle close is bullish here as well. For the last 2 days, we've seen bullish candle closes. So the target here would be 133.20 level. So we're looking for a move higher back into the top of this candle, which is 133.20. And then we could see it even go higher into 133.80. So bias is to the upside, and I'm looking for a retest of 133.20 level right in the top of the candle there. Aussie yen. Aussie yen we did get a bullish candle close, but it's not as strong as Euro yen and pound yen. because Aussie itself is weak right now. So with this one, the bias is to the upside, but again, we are into this 84.85 level. So if it doesn't break above this level, then we could just see something like this and price drop back. So for now, the bias is to the upside, but we are into resistance at 84.85 level. This is where we are. So if the price does not cross to the other side, then we are basically looking for price to come back into this S2 level, 83.92 level, or if it crosses to the other side, if it's able to break above the high here. So if it does one of these, we can look for pullback, and then we're looking at R3 in terms of our target. So potential targets are S2 to the downside and R3 to the upside, but we are into resistance, so we have to first see where price is reacting and then go with that. Dollar yen here. Dollar yen bullish candle close, looks bullish at the moment. So this is where we are, and it's breaking up above that. So that's a very solid candle close. We had a bullish pin bar, and then since then we have been bullish right here. So 108 is the level that I will be watching. And then we also have this one, which is 108.50. So those will be the potential targets, but I do like 108. And I'm looking for price to move up higher into that level. So dollar yen is bullish. Let's have a quick look at CAD yen. CAD yen not so bullish because commodities have been weak. So this one could get stuck right at 85.20, or it could go into 85.50 and then react. So for now, the bias is to the upside, but as we can see, it's not very, very strong. So in fact, we do see a bit of a rejection here. With this one, I will look for a retest of 85.20 and then wait for something. So kind of like that is what I'm looking at, because dollar CAD is strong. So Canadian dollar is not as strong. So this is where we are. So if it goes to retest this level here, 85.20-ish, which is also our R2 level, then drops, then we can look for a move to the downside, or it may go higher into this 85.50 level and then at the R3 level. So it's a small move, and we'll have to see how it plays out. New Zealand yen here. This is looking bullish, so I'm looking for price to go into this 79.20 level and then further up into 79.50 level. So bias for now is to the upside. It tried to break below several times, but it hasn't. So bias is to the upside for now. Okay, any questions before we call it a wrap? So that's what I have. So right now, Aussie is pushing into this resistance level that we were looking at. I am going to keep an eye on this level, which is 78.84-ish level right here, and see if you get a pullback there. If not, this is where we are right now, and my bias is to the downside for Aussie yen, so I may call a trade. And target will be 77.80-ish, basically into the bottom here. So there is enough room, even from where we are currently, to take a trade. And then our stop would be on the other side here, about 40 pips in terms of our stop. So my stop will be about 40 pips. But we do have like 100 pip drop here right into the bottom, inefficient move. So it will likely get filled. So I'm just going to watch it right here. If I take a trade, I will send out a message. And I may want to do that quickly. So let me just take a look at what's going on here. Euro has pulled up a bit. Pound has pulled up a bit. But Aussie is looking weak, and New Zealand dollar here has pulled back a bit, but it's not. So it could pull back into the pivot here. This one is not looking as strong. So Aussie is probably the weakest of all those that we looked at. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it for a couple of minutes. I may call a trade. So just just keep an eye on the Skype. If I do enter it, I will post it. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful evening. So I will be back in the London session again. So I'll see you at 3 a.m. Eastern then. Have a good night. Bye for now.